Hi guys, welcome to another episode of UK Here We Grow. I have been nominated by Bill A. Gardner and Terry King to do the Allotment Challenge. I've seen loads and loads of these sort of videos that have been done by people and what have you, and obviously it's getting to the point now where, people are starting to nominate people who have already done, obviously like Aaron and Bill and Terry. So, first question, how long have you had your allotment for? We've had the allotment for just over 5 years, and we picked up the allotment in October of 2010. So it's just over 5 years we've had the main allotment. Second question is, how long did you have to wait for your allotment? We had to wait quite a while. Where we were living first off, which was in the Vale of Glamorgan, we had a 9-year wait for an allotment, and we were on that list for over 5 years. And when we were expecting Wayne, we decided to move back closer to where our parents lived, and for them to be able to help us and what have you. That didn't actually quite work out how we wanted it to, for the simple reason being my granddad became ill at the time, and because of that it was very difficult for my mum to help with the kids and stuff like that, so it never really panned out. But so when we were living in Roos, we were on the list for over 5 years, still didn't get a plot, and then we moved up here, and I contacted the council to get my name on the list, and they said, well, here's a number, give this a call, which is what we did. This was a Friday. On the Saturday morning, I went up to the main allotment, and was given one plot. That went on from there. Later on that year, I took the plot next to it, and the year after. As you've seen from the site, there was a lot of derelict plots there. It's not so much the case now, every plot's taken now, but at the time I ended up with 3 full plots, and also just under 3 plots on the chickens and ducks, for the poultry. Question 3, guys. Where did you learn about gardening? When I came out of school, I went to college, done an electrical and electronic engineering degree, and it really wasn't me. I'd done a couple of years at it, and it just didn't fit well with me. So I packed in the degree after 2 years, and I moved to Cardiff, and I got myself a job as a caretaker of a school in a little place called Llanishenfach Primary School. And while I was there, obviously, as a caretaker, you're not really around so much through the day, but it tended to be sort of, early morning and late evening. So I started a horticultural course in the local college. And I'd done a couple of years studying horticultural, all sorts of horticulture there, over those sort of few years. And that's really where I learned. But it stemmed back way before that, when I was about 4 or 5, about the same age Wayne is now. My granddad owned a small holding, and we had horses there, and a couple of pigs and goats and stuff like that. And I remember riding with him and stuff like that, and that was pretty much great, and behind his house he had an allotment. And I can remember every Saturday and Sunday I'd be down there with him, sort of stabbing myself in my hands, picking gooseberries, and and he'd be telling me, how I did this, and I'd be helping him carrying buckets of manure up the garden, because his allotment was on a hill like this. And then, of course, I went and done the courses in the college, and then I picked up my allotment. But between then and the horticultural college, my father owned an allotment, and I helped him a fair bit on that as well. And it's surprising, by talking to old hands, how much you actually learn. And And then when I decided that I was going to have an allotment because I wanted to provide better food and things for my children, I decided that I'd start doing a lot more research, and then it went from there. Then I read tons and tons of books. I watched loads and loads of old episodes of things like Gardener's World and what have you. And that's really where it stemmed from. And then of course I got my own allotment, and when you get your own allotment you learn them by mistakes, and over the last 5 years I've made enough of them, I can tell you. So that's pretty much how I learned about gardening. Number 4, do you plant a winter garden? Usually yes. This year we haven't, but usually we're growing all sorts of winter hardy lettuce, mizuna and things like that. We grow collards and kales, so we are still growing. And then of course, by the time sort of November, December comes, I'm planting the chilies again for the year after. So it's an ongoing process. And if you look back through my older videos, you will see that that even in November and December and January there are always videos there. I'm not a sort of fair weather gardener, and if you look back on some of them, the weather's atrocious that I'm working in. What's your biggest success this year or ever? I think one of my biggest successes was the potatoes. We had awesome potatoes this year. £15 out of a bucket, and the variety, if you're wondering, guys, is Rudolph. And they're great spud. They're great for roasting, they're great for chipping, great for mash. They're really good all-rounder. I believe they're only available via Marshalls, but we've kept our own seed potatoes this year, so so we won't have to worry about buying those. But they were great. And we also had brilliant Jerusalem artichokes, as you saw from an earlier episode. Absolutely stunning veg, and we had massive yields with them again. What's been your biggest gardening disaster? I've had so many I couldn't tell you. When I first got the allotment, I decided to build a polytunnel. Now if you look back on tonight's episode, you'll see Brian had a video on talking about heaters, and in that episode at the end he's talking about snow collapsing a polytunnel. Well, that polytunnel was my very first polytunnel I built, which was a 20 by 10 polytunnel, and that just totally, it just wasn't built very well. It was the idea I had, oh, this will hold up and this, that and the other, and that's where the ultimate polytunnel sort of stemmed from when that happened. And I really went all out in designing a tunnel that would hold up, a horse if it needed to. And incidentally, guys, we're going to be dismantling that tunnel, and we're going to be moving it to the new plots. So there's another series coming up there in the next few weeks when the weather permits, because at the moment we've got torrential wind and rain, and we've had it for weeks. Question 7. Do you have a tried and tested true crop variety that you always grow? Yeah. We always grow the Anoma runner bean. However, just because we always grow those, it doesn't mean I don't sort of try other things. This year we tried sort of Belotti, we tried obviously the French green beans, we tried the versions like Moonlight and Firestorm. So just because I'm trialing them, I will still have maybe another row or a wigwam at the very least of these other varieties to try them. So but Anoma are a great bean, and again the Rudolph spuds, we've had such good results with them that I'm going to continue to grow them. Number 8, are you planning on trying anything new next year? Yes. As you know, we've been trying loads of new stuff over the years. The sweet potatoes we've done really well with. We've done awesome with the artichokes, and that was our first year growing them this year. We've done really well with oca. We've had tons of oca, and again that was only our second year growing that. Next year we're going to be growing yacon, because I was given some tubers from one of my other plot holders, and oh, it's absolutely stunning. It'll be great in salads along with the okra and things like that. So it's very sweet, and it doesn't taste at all like you would think. So we're going to be growing some yakon next year. Number 9, how to preserve your crops. So like most of you guys, I've got a big 6-foot chest freezer, and that's in the garage. So we freeze a lot of our food. We have a root store actually under where I'm sat now. There's a basement here. It's nice, dark. It's very, very cold but frost free. So it's a great place for storing all our roots. So our potatoes, our carrots, our parsnips, they're all laid on racks underneath this house, and they're checked periodically as well. The other thing that we do as well, we do can things. We'll make up meals, you know, sort of like tomato sauces when we got big gluts and things like that. As you saw, if you go to our website, you'll see loads of recipes there from things that we've made over the course of this year, and things like the strawberries. We'll make strawberry leathers out, and we do have a video for that, and I'll put a link for that video as well. I put it on the end card, guys. Okay, so you can have a look at that. Number 10, what's your favourite meal to cook with veg from the plot? It just has to be a roast dinner, guys. I absolutely love them. I grew up on them, and it's just something that I've always eaten, and I always look forward to eating. And I think with a roast dinner, people tend to go that one step further. They lay the dining room table, and it becomes a family meal. And I think that certainly here in the UK, people have got away from that, where they're eating on trays or sat on a sofa or whatever the case being. And I don't think families do that enough, where they pull a table out and sit at the table as a proper family meal. And that's one thing we definitely do with a roast dinner, and the kids love it as well because they love their veg, so that's great. The other thing I want to say while I'm here is Wayne a couple of days ago got diagnosed with celiac disease, so he's gluten free now, and so it's great that he likes the veg and what have you, because it's going to make our life a little easier. Whereas if he didn't like veg and he was eating all the processed foods like a lot of other children out there, we'd be lost, because most of them contain gluten, and there are very, very limited products out there that can sort of be given to children. Chicken nuggets, there's wheat flour in the coating, and the same thing with fish fingers, all of these processed foods. So we're so glad that he eats veg, and we're hoping that'll make life a bit easier over the next few months. Really, that's it, guys. I hope that was of interest to you. You've obviously found out a little bit about myself and some of the family and what we've been doing. I've got 3 nominations. The first one is Dan from Allotment Diary. I haven't seen him do one yet, so if I've missed it, I'm sorry, but so we're going to ask Dan, and I'll email him as well. The next one is Lyn from A Heart Full of Happiness. She got a great channel, all about sort of cactus and things like that. So I'll be sending you an email, Lyn. And I think we should get our very own Brian Bastable to do one, even though he is part of the UK Here We Grow team, and I'll end up editing the video. I think now he's co-presenting on the channel, guys. I think that it'll be worth him having a chat and answering these questions. So Brian, I'll send you a link, and you can make that video and get it to me, and I'll edit it for the rest of the guys to see. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. I hope that this was of interest, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.